All right, today we're diving into a new AI toolkit that's making a really bold claim. It says it can completely change the game for how homeowners associations are run. It's called HOA GPT Power Prompts, and, it's promising nothing short of a revolution in community management. So, is your community board just drowning in paperwork? I mean, if you've ever been on an HOA board, or maybe you're a community manager, this question, it probably hits a little too close to home, right? It's a world that's just swimming in endless emails, super complex legal docs, and those late night meetings. And this list, it pretty much nails the day-to-day grind. We're talking about spending hours just to get the wording on one single legal amendment perfect, or the mountains of paperwork you need for just one annual meeting. And let's not forget the delicate art of dealing with resident complaints. It's just a constant, really complex juggling act. So all of those challenges, they really do combine to create what we're calling the HOA management maze. It's this super complex web of legal stuff, admin work, and communication tasks that boards are trying to get through every single day. Okay, but what if there was a better way to get through that maze? Well, this is where a new tool comes in, and it's making let's just say, a very audacious promise. We're talking about multiplying productivity, not just by a little bit, but by 100 times. 100x. I mean, just think about that. That is the core claim of this HOA GPT Power Prompts toolkit. It's a staggering number, right? It really suggests a fundamental shift in how HOA management could work, moving away from all that manual human effort to AI-powered efficiency. So the big question is, how could it possibly do that? Well, the central idea is pretty clever. It uses a whole library of very specific, kind of expert-level prompts within AI, like GPT. And these aren't your simple one-line questions. No, they're more like layered instructions that tell the AI exactly what to do. They guide it to turn those tasks that take hours into just a few minutes of work, all while making sure it's accurate and legally compliant. And listen, this isn't just some vague, fluffy promise. The source material gets really specific. For example, it claims that these prompts can slash the time you spend on meeting prep and all the follow-up work by over 90%. Seriously, 90%. Just let that sink in. All right, so how does this actually work in the real world? Let's take a look inside the AI toolkit and see how these prompts function in the most important areas of HOA management. First up, let's talk about one of the trickiest parts, governance and the legal framework. This is where things can get so bogged down, with all the expensive research and legal consultations. Okay, now check out this example prompt. It's not just asking a simple question, right? It's a precise command. It's telling the AI to draft a legal document, to back it up with a specific law for justification, in this case, the Karnataka Apartment Ownership Act from India, and to solve a really common community issue. I mean, that is incredibly specific and really powerful. And that is the claimed benefit, right there in action. You've got a task that would normally take a legal committee, hours of research, and super careful drafting, and now, apparently, it can be done in the time it takes to make a cup of coffee. It's pretty wild. All right, next category, meetings and procedural support. Look, anyone who has ever had to prepare for an annual general meeting, you know the insane amount of documents that are involved. So just look at how efficient this single prompt is. It's telling the AI to generate a complete AGM package. We're talking the notice, the agenda, the proxy form, and the attendance sheet, the whole shebang, generated instantly from just one command. The value here is just crystal clear, isn't it? It's all about automating that tedious but absolutely critical admin work that's behind every single official meeting. This frees up the board to actually focus on what matters, the discussion itself, instead of being buried in paperwork. Okay, and for our last showcase, let's talk about something that is just as important, communication and resident engagement. Because keeping residents in the loop and handling their concerns, well, that's absolutely key to a happy, healthy community. Now, this is interesting. The key thing about this prompt is that it's not just about spitting out facts. It's about tone, it's about empathy. It's asking the AI to handle a really sensitive human task that needs a careful professional touch. So what's the result? Well, instead of a quickly typed up, maybe even inflammatory email, you get a standardized, polite, and trust-building response in seconds. That kind of consistent professionalism can make a massive difference in how the community feels.
So when you start putting all these pieces together, you see that this toolkit is being pitched as way more than just a simple productivity app. It's really being framed as a whole new kind of professional resource for your HOA.
And the transformation they're promising is pretty dramatic. You go from hours of manual work down to minutes of automated work. You go from the constant risk of human error to built-in legal compliance. And you go from inconsistent, all-over-the-place messages to standardized, professional memos. It's basically a complete operational upgrade.
So what does this all really add up to? Well, the key claims are these. You can create legally aware documents in an instant. You can standardize all your communications and procedures. You build more transparency and professionalism. And this is a big one, you do it all without having to hire any extra staff.
And this really brings us to the final, super powerful metaphor they use to sell this thing. It's not just a piece of software. They're positioning it as your HOA's built-in legal secretary, communication specialist, and compliance officer, all rolled into one. It's like having 3 key professionals right there in your workflow, ready whenever you need them. You know, when you see claims that are this bold, you can't help but wonder if we're looking at more than just a small step forward. A tool like this really seems to point toward a whole new era for how community management could be handled.
And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? We've seen the claims, we've looked at how it works, and we've talked about the potential. So the question that's left is this. Is an AI copilot like this the future for every single community, big or small? That's the thought I want to leave you with today.